So I'm going to call the May Board of Trustee meeting to order at, it looks like 6:46.
Yeah, I have 6:46.
Okay. So I noticed the flags aren't here. So we can still do the Pledge of Allegiance, can't we? I mean, do we need the flags for the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay.
You want to bring one in?
Yeah.
Do we want to do a, what do you call it when we do it, Boy Scout? Yeah, Boy Scout point. Because our eagle.
Okay, I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do you do the roll call, Jay?
Yeah, I'll do the roll call.
Okay,
All right, President Jennifer Schultz,
here.
Vice President Richard McGlue,
Here,
Treasurer Gwendolyn Newton,
Here.
Secretary Jake Hudak here, Trustee Karen Wines,
Here.
and Trustee Eric Schaubel here. And we're joined in attendance by Director April Stevenson and Assistant Director Amy Rosen.
Okay. So can I get someone to approve tonight's agenda?
I also move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okey-doke. The ayes have it. We do have public tonight. Would you like to tell us are you going to comment? Or are you just here to watch?
Just going to watch.
Okay, all righty. If you want to comment, we just need your name and address. Okay? So nice to meet you. An officers report. I
Approval
don't
of
have
minutes.
Approval of minutes.
Yeah, we'll do that. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month's meeting?
Where are?
They're two-sided.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, thank you.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it. All right, now I will move on to officer reports. And don't have a report per se, but last month we approved the kind of football design of the flowers around the sign. And I thought we said we would talk about what flowers to put in there. Okay, I just wanted to tell is the master gardener who's helping us do this. I kind of would like to see us use flowers similar to the Gathering Place patios here, like those coral bells and the little bunny, or the little ones that look like little bunny tails, you know, just so it kind of all looks like it goes together. And if he needs any more direction than that, you know, I'd be happy to meet with him, but I just want to make sure you guys were okay, because we had.
We're talking about the big sign.
the big sign, trying to protect the site and fill in the landscaping around it.
Okay. From the.
Oh, you weren't here.
I was not here.
Yeah, he showed us a couple different ideas. One
Okay.
was more geometrically square, and the other one kind of was like an oval, like a football almost.
Okay.
And we thought that looked nicer and would be easier to mow around, so we had moved forward with that. So
So I'm assuming whatever he's gonna do is pruning.
yeah, so well, he had shown sedums. And we were like, I don't know that we wanted to go with red and yellow sedums, and we said we would give some direction, and I noticed it wasn't on old business, so I thought I would just bring it up in my president's report. Is that okay with you all? I just, you know.
Yeah, it needs to match the landscaping that we have.
That we
today,
have
for sure.
already, okay,
And I don't think we have any sedum in our landscaping today.
no,
Okay.
he was just giving us ideas. Sure, it's very welcome.
Mhm.
All righty. So, and I'm glad to see April back from the islands. Although you don't look super tan
Well, for me,
for you. So I hope you had a good relaxing vacation. and It's good to have you back. All right. So Rich, anything?
I have no report.
Okay,
I do not have a secretary's report.
anything you're good? Then that brings us to you, Gwen.
Okay. I'll just- Those financials, okay.
Are the students coming through the financial?
They come through the finance
Okay.
committee, not the treasurer's report.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm hoping everybody had a opportunity to look at the financial statements, the fund balance. I know that and you know, we have in the second page is our CDs And then, and if you know, and the prepaids, I noticed, and thank you, April, that, you know, you have these highlighted about the Bean Stat, subscriptions reclassifying, and it really isn't a lot. And then the aging report, so I was looking at the aging report and I realized, I looked at it like a year ago, we didn't actually have the same report a year ago. And I'm not complaining, but we did not, a year ago, we were not receiving a 30-day aging report. Okay, so this is actually nice. And then I did go back and I was looking at where we were at a year ago to this year and in our expenditures. And we have expenses of about 25.8% of our budget has been spent to date, which is really where it should be, you know, for the first quarter. So thank you, April. And last year it was like 24.8%. So it's very close. And you know, we're right on target. And so if anybody has any questions about the P&Ls or the balance sheet. Okay. And then I would, and I don't know if people had a chance to look through our check detail.
Yeah.
One of the things what I was gonna ask April, and I really didn't look, we have a limit of how, and it came up in that meeting we had earlier today, and we have a limit of how many checks we can process in a month, right? But I don't think we're close to that limit yet. Okay, all right. Okay, so if there are no questions, then I present a motion to accept the bills for payment as presented.
Okay,
Second this.
okay, thank you, Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Sounds like the ayes have it. All righty, that brings us to you, April.
Okay, thank you. Director's report. So I haven't had a chance to review it. Just a few things I'll highlight for you. Under administration, we finally, and another finally, received our emergency connectivity funding that we were waiting on, $837,000 directly to our T-Mobile invoice and then for hotspot usage. So that basically paid for that whole entire month.
Oh, good.
So that was great.
Okay.
Also, if you haven't had a chance to look through the property, I know you see the one TIA art installation in front. Make sure you check out the rest of the other two.
Oh, where's the third one? I know there's one here.
And
The
one
children.
Children, I didn't see that.
They
one.
look fabulous.
Mhm.
And as I was coming in the other day, I noticed people standing and actually reading them. So
They were installed by the DIA, right? Did all that.
And information will be forthcoming on the website soon. That will give further information about all of those at one glance. And big thank you to our assistant director for pulling that together.
Yay,
and they're also at the township. So do we know how many of the township received? Two.
One at the township, one at the park, and one at the senior, two at the senior.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
And one thing that's not on here, I do want to touch base on, since it just happened this week, was our auditor visit. So our auditor was here yesterday and today. We were able to answer any extra questions she had, provided some additional information. She was able to meet with our board treasurer. It's great. Our accountant also stopped by to answer any questions and provided some additional information to her as well. She complimented our organization that we were very well organized, and we will, she hopes to have everything wrapped up and ready by next week. And then we will schedule our presentation to the board as soon as is possible. Like we did last year. Continuing on in circulation, we hired a new page via Stebbins. We're excited to have her on board. Our own Kathy was a model during the Friends tea,
Oh, fun.
which was a lot of fun.
She was great.
And we're very proud of Annette. She processed 1,000 items during April. So that was quite a lot of things going on. Under communications and marketing, I draw your attention to each jar, which is the first bullet point there, that we submitted a flyer to May programs. I have some experience with Peach Jar from my previous, where I worked. And this is a service, as it states here, that allows us to send our flyers to multiple school districts that are posted, and our flyers will go to multiple schools and will reach multiple parents. And so we're very, it's a really good thing to be a part of Peach Jar.
So this is all web-based.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see it's delivered to how many different emails, and we're allowed to see how many people viewed it.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's great.
So does it go to all of the,
Local schools.
okay,
We will be sending, we can only do it once a month, and so this Friday, we're gonna send out the survey. This part.
Oh, okay, good.
We get 4 pages that we can send. in the survey.
okay,
Oh, good.
great.
Social media is going well. The other thing that I also want to thank Amy and Heather for is helping to get out the survey stuff. So they were really there to get that link going. It went live on May 11th. Got it posted to social media and on Facebook, on the website. It's lots of QR codes and flyers that are at kiosks, desks. So lots of ways that this has been sent out. I do also want to update you on that and some other things that where it went. We put the link on our checkout receipts. So when people check out their books, that'll be community survey. We only had so much room, but it says community survey and then has the link. So they would have to key it in, but at least it's on there, and we'll see how that goes. It is attached to library card applications now. It is in our self-checks and QR code. We have sent the survey letter and link and our summer reading program information to the Director of Communications of the Huron Valley Schools. And we also sent it to the communication staff of the Wall Lake Schools. It's been sent to the homeowners associations and said Peach Jar. And the other thing I want to ask is I have for you as board members, I have flyers big and small. And I'm wondering if you know, like when you have food trucks come into your neighborhood, or you know of gatherings or neighbors that don't use our library, please give them these and please ask them. So please
Okay.
get these before you leave.
Do we have a QR code also on the website?
We have a link,
Just a link,
just a link.
Okay. because maybe we could have a QR code on there as well. And I'm just commenting on that because we found in another entity that I'm working in, 90% of the people that had school-age children, when we were doing something, used the QR code.
That's a-
That was either in person or on the website, and we had there was very, very few people that actually used the link that were in, and it was a program that was specifically for elementary school kids, and they were shocked at the number of people that just use the QR code either from, looking at it on their phone or looking at it in person. And they were able to do that statistic, and it was staggering. So it's something, that the younger generation below me, younger than I am, is really using it all the time.
Well, it's really interesting, just as a side note, because pre-pandemic, QR codes were kind of going out.
Right.
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 Now,
So, right.
right.
And so we could put that QR code on our website.
Okay, so that's just a little bit of what's going on there. I'm kind of giving you a strategic thing. Can we update? But that's some of the marketing that's been going on with the survey. And other stuff. Not many director connections for me this month. Obviously, I was gone for 2 weeks, but Friends Exec Board and Friends Tea, which was lovely. I'll get to that in a few minutes. Facilities, we have installed reflective stakes around that troublesome entry curve. And so far, nobody just ran them over. Finally, it took the reflective stakes, so that's good. The lighting, we had an issue with the lighting in the mechanical room just one day, it went out. And it happened to go out on the same day that they came in to do the water chemical treatment. But the guy was really nice about it. He kind of pointed the way and said, it's probably that, and there's a board that if the electricity goes through the lighting, that is actual for the bypass board for the emergency lighting. So it's the board circuit board up there that's out and needs to be replaced. So I'm looking into an electrician to kind of see, you know. I hear it's a little costly, so, but I'll see what I find out. But right now the lights aren't working. Electrical company came out and bypassed it, and so that's next on my to-do list. Mailbox has been installed, and we got a thank you note from the postal delivery person. Again, Friends held their tea and fashion show. They had on 63 in attendance. Again, a beautiful affair. They had their first time homeschool curriculum sale on May 20th, 5 vendors, and they made around $250. And another 50 or so on raffle tickets. They had so many raffle baskets that they're going to have 4 at the next in the book sale.
Nice.
So be aware of that, we can get to that. And they're planning for their fall program. They have membership dues are up for renewal on September 1st. They made a recent change to their membership form, including the best way to contact and also a general membership $10 per household option is under consideration. Gifts and memorials, we received a donation of over 46 advanced readers copies, otherwise known as copies. These are not yet published. They are forthcoming books. These were made to Amy to share with the Read and Discuss group at Dublin from her friend who works as a sales rep at a major publishing company. Unclaimed copies will be used for the summer reading club. And there's a few on the side here.
Oh, great.
For you to take a look at. Information services, adult. The seed library continues to be a big hit. In April and May, we continued with the landscaping fabric giveaway, remaining crow kits, and additional oversized seed packets. So these are usually like salsa. Everything to throw the salsa. So those are being given away. During National Library Week, we had 105 White Lake residents enter the drawing for planters. So that was very exciting. Patrons with new cards were entered into one, and existing cards entered into another. A total of 30 of those planters were given away. And so again, a big thank you to Home Depot for that generous donation. Our Cora concert was a huge hit with over 30 in attendance, and Theater Thursday had a huge turnout with over 30 in attendance for the 80 birthday. So that was
Never did get to see that.
It's pretty cute.
It's cute.
Youth and Teen Services, draw your attention to that we applied for the Michigan Humanities Touring Grant and approved within 8 hours. So we're going to receive $230 towards the cost of the program for the Drum Circle program. The White Lake Police Foundation with Community Coalition donated a ton of items for our teen loans. Faith has applied for a grant from Dollar General Literacy Foundation, and this is done through our Friends organization in hopes of purchasing more playaway tablets. We'll learn about this in the fall. I'm sure many of you have seen our summer reading promo video that was filmed by our youth team and our Academy Award winning
Great job, April.
monster. So this is there. And Oxbow Elementary, big shout out to them for sharing that video on their social media. As of May 19th, we already had 349 views on YouTube for that, so it's going quite well. Additional workbooks added to our collection. And initial purchase for parenting collection was made, and some shifting will have to be done. In addition to that initial purchase of about 16 titles, other titles from within the current collection will be moved to there as well, where applicable.
And when do we think that's going to be completed?
When will that be completed? Probably June-ish, late June, maybe early July.
Okay.
Yeah, just narrowing down where we're gonna we're gonna move some stuff. Okay, right, and Jen gave you a little bit of an update on landscaping. Security wise, always continuing to look at security. The lots of that in two front doors, one at our adult staff door and one in admin, which helps us to be able to lock from within the room. So we don't have to fumble with a key on the outside. We can just. And a new thing that I'm starting here, staff kudos, our staff anniversaries. So I want to call out each month. So we're starting this right now. Jennifer Hiddle has 11 years here. Stephanie Lawson has 2, and I have 1.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all of them. And also want to take this time to say a special thank you to Amy, to Heather, and to Gwen for covering things while I was gone and taking care of invoices and positive pay and all of that. So thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, positive pay was actually down. Oh, yes. Yes, yeah,
For like 2 or 3 days.
yeah, 2.5 days.
Oh dear.
But we got through
Good.
it. I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't load and. Yeah,
Chrissy was probably right.
she's like, well, and then she says, no, it works, and I'm like, no, it doesn't, and then there'd be a little sign, it's intermittent, yeah, yeah, so it didn't work for 2 days, so, but we got it done and everything's.
And technology and website, we've added 7 12th gen Intel workstations installed. And updated, thanks to a suggestion from a friend, they wanted the what's happening at the library scrolling updated so that the reader could scroll at their own speed or just sit back and watch.
Oh, nice.
So gives them that option. And then 3 new printers and 1 copier were replaced. So we were with 1 company. That lease was coming to an end. And so we picked up a new lease with a new company and now have new printers and copiers. One of the benefits of it is that you can scan to email. So a very nice option.
Okay, that is nice.
This is a new company.
So on technology, the dedicated land drops for the friends, that working well?
That is working great.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
They're very happy with it.
Good.
Any questions on statistics?
No. Can I just comment, like, where you gave us an update here where we changed the supplier? Can we do that all the time for the ones that are, under 5,000 that don't necessarily come to our attention
When we change a vendor?
when we change a vendor, so we know? Okay, I appreciate that. It doesn't have to be just technology and website, just any vendors.
Anything on stats? I will call out that last month.
I guess I'm surprised that curbside is so low. I mean, I knew it would be lower now that it's open, but I'm surprised it's so low. Do we think we're gonna quit doing that once we have our drive-through?
We
Yes.
won't need it.
Yeah,
And once we get the drive-through, I anticipate that skyrocketing.
yeah, okay.
I was over at the park by Commerce's library, and that's where their drive-through is. And while I was there, I wasn't there all that long. I watched 3 cars go through their drive.
Really?
Yeah.
They have a, like with the
Automatic.
automatic.
Ah,
What do you?
Oh, really? If
Yeah.
person's not staffing it?
Yeah, no, well, it's for turning things in. I don't,
Oh, okay.
oh, like, yeah,
no, this was the drive-up window.
the one, okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, their drive-up window had like, oh, there goes another one. And I watched them reach and get their stuff. I'm like, okay, I better pay attention.
But we're working on, I'll be bringing policy sheet regarding that and procedures.
And what's our status on,
That's later.
I'm gonna.
okay, all right, okay, thank you, Karen.
It's in old business.
Okay, all right,
I think it's interesting that all of our electronic, like Hoopla and all of those and Overdrive are up. They keep going up.
Sure, well, and look at our door count, for March when the Friends did the book sale,
Mhm,
it's significant,
mhm.
Yeah, Overdrive had a record year last year.
Oh, yeah.
which is fabulous. I use it all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I mean, I've met people here that, out in the community that say, oh, I need to get over to the library, and I'm like, don't you have a library card? Yeah, but I just use Libby.
Oh,
Yeah, and they don't, and they really, it's sort of sad that they don't come in and see how great the facility is, but I am amazed at how many people strictly use it.
And that's why we want to continue to get other reasons. So.
Yeah.
Books.
Um, I have a question about that, speaking of overdrive, and this is my own, for my own information, so, because I think, you know, we go out there and we look, I think we have 4 library systems that we can look at. Is it?
I thought it was
Is it
5.
5? Okay, how do we expand that, our circulation? That's why I'm asking.
That is all controlled by Overdrive.
Thank you.
I have to be part of that, be part of that conversation. I
Okay.
can't say, but another local one is in conversation, but it's about a year-long process to get them.
To add more, to add
And
more libraries.
Overdrive doesn't want to do it, so it's not as supported, and that's why it is
Mm.
very hard to get to those other ones. They don't like that we're all sharing our things, because then people buy us.
Okay, well, I
I mean,
just,
that's a known thing. I'm not sure.
because, you know, you look
They
at,
like that.
you look at other communities outside of Michigan.
Yeah.
And the amount of circulation they have within their product is tremendous compared to what we're offering. So then I'm, you know, I'm looking at people that I know in other states and looking at their ability to see what their circulation is, and they'll say, oh, you should use this, you know, download this book, and I go to our Overdrive, you know, options, and I can't get it. You know, and they're pretty recent books, and it's, you know, and so I'm just like, oh, how do we expand that? You know,
It's
so-
discouraging too, when you look up a book and it says the wait time is 24 weeks.
Oh,
you
I
know,
have
it's
many
like-
on hold that are that long.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's like,
Yes.
well, really?
Right.
I'm gonna go get the book.
Well, just for a secret, because we buy extra copies that are only available for White Lake patrons.
Mhm.
That does not count in that 24-week count, so you might be only 2 weeks out.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say.
it's because it can't work with, it doesn't understand consortial buying. on
Okay.
behalf of White Lake, so that's a good, I tell all patrons. Citizens.
But I have,
Just because it says that's long, and some books just aren't out there.
yeah, well, I have a book that's, I think I asked for it the end of January, and I still haven't. been able to get
I
it.
have some from that far
Yes.
back, and
Mhm.
it's like,
It-
it
it's
holds
not-
up your whole section.
And I think it's still telling me it's about 16 weeks out.
Mhm.
Yeah, watching those very good. Like that.
So, yeah, and most of those that are like that are audiobooks.
Mhm.
My friends in place of like.
Okay, yeah, so I've been waiting since the end of January for a book. And I think the last time I looked, it said 16 weeks, so I thought, is there any way we can, you know, increase that circulation? But if it's part of Overdrive, it's part of Overdrive, right? Okay,
Share the committees and everything.
okay, thank you. Okay,
It's valuable having your own.
yes, thank you very much. Amy.
You'll notice on the internet, we previously had where it says public computer station
Yeah.
logins, that title has been changed. It was, there's internet usage before, so, thanks to Rich, we kind of got that a little bit more defined. And then if you look at the next page, Wi-Fi session, that further breaks that out for you. So, while this is both, the
Okay,
next one is specific to Wi-Fi.
So it's a subset of, okay.
thank you. So those are people that specifically have to access the flash page. Thank you.
All right, we move on to committee
Um,
report.
I actually have another question on statistics.
Go right ahead.
Sorry. How do we, and this might be part of strategic planning, so how do we know? I would think that TLM can tell us this, what genres are patrons mostly checking out, you know, like what are our statistics on our genres? And I would think that those would come out of the TLN database, but we really don't know what people are requesting for purchase, and also, but what people are checking out the most. You know, what are like our top 10 genres that people are checking out? I mean, you know, in the summer, is it, you know, beach romance? I mean, I really, you know, is it novels? Is it? I just wondering, you know, what our patron community really is interested in. And that's a statistic that we don't really have.
Well, I mean, you can run reports, but usually run it by collection.
Okay,
So it's kind of hard to see specifically, I mean, it just depends on how it's cataloged, say, some libraries don't catalog them the same way. We may be able to dig down to that and get it by genre, I mean, I can see what I.
because we can say we can see how many books of each genre that we have in our library. I mean, it's easy to go out there as a patron and see that,
Right.
but how many of those are in those different genres are really used? You know, because we purchase things in all genres, right? How many of those genres are we buying things for and they're not actually they're not actually out in circulation? People aren't actually checking them out. And then how many things do we have that, you know, we have a specific genre and that's like it'd be really interesting for me personally to know what are our top 10 genres that people check out? What are people really interested in our community? And are we meeting that need well enough?
Sure, I can take a look and see
Okay.
what kind of reports.
Thanks. I would think since TLN's a database, it would be, you know, something that we'd be able to follow. Because I know that I probably don't read what a lot of the other people read, and so I think, you know. I
You know,
mean,
kind of along that line. Maybe we, like at each meeting, maybe we could get a folder. That's just a copy or the originals of books that not customers, patrons are asking us to get.
Yeah.
And then, I'm assuming this is gonna be part of one of our policy things, but like, what do we do with it? Like, if we decide yes or no, I think we should tell the patron, because I know. I
well, we
put a
do
co-
today,
Do we?
Yes,
Do we send a note saying, yes, we will, or no, we
yes,
won't?
and
or-
I requested a book and I was told it, you know, probably wouldn't be well received among the community just because, you know, it was a little bit obscure and I actually was satisfied with the answer.
Okay, I just
So-
was curious if we closely.
You know, I
looked, if
asked for
that was the
something that was,
process.
you know, recently, you know, relatively new.
Mhm,
And the research that came back on it was excellent
mhm.
and said, you know, it might get lost in our circulation. I thought, yeah, well, that's a good point. So
Okay.
I actually really appreciated it.
All right, I just wondered. Cause I thought I turned in one for a book along like 6 months ago. And I don't recall that I got an answer, but maybe I didn't, like, maybe I filled out the form and then didn't give it to you. I mean, who knows?
Well, I use the website.
Oh, I did not.
We have a
Okay.
new online link that you can make a request.
Okay, cool.
And it requires you to be White Lake, so you gotta.
Okay. All righty. I just wasn't sure how many of those we have, but if
You don't get a lot.
you don't, okay. Cause I was thinking if we're looking at genres, maybe we could just see what real life examples we have
Right,
too.
I'm just curious what people really check out, what they're interested in.
Well, I'll add that, I'll add that.
Okay,
And I'll also see if we can, if there's what kind of reports we can pull.
okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
Okay,
That's all mine.
Okey-doke. So moving on to the committee reports. When you're on the stage again.
okay. And hopefully this won't take too much time. You know, we've been very busy in doing a lot of CD work, right? Because with the status of the banking community, previously, it wasn't a big deal to have money in one bank and we get our taxes in one bank. And now we realize that, you know, it's probably best that we minimize our fiscal risk as much as possible. So I've been spending a lot of time talking to the different banks and pulling interest rates and, you know, what's the best deals. And a lot of the banks will have a really good deal they'll have specials. Right, so like the credit unions in the area, they'll have a special and it might be 12 months, but it might be 13 months. It's a lot of times with the credit unions, it's sort of an odd number. It's an odd number. So in looking at that, you know, as I said, we're trying to reduce our FDIC risk. And I think that is something that I understand from the auditors that everybody's always audited on, but it's never been really a big concern as it is this year. Since 2008, it really hadn't been a big concern. So the auditors will comment on, you know, how well we're meeting that need. And anyway, in that, we said, Joe and April and I, had some discussions, and Joe put together, a 5-year plan, on rolling CDs. And I'd like to get to that point where he was looking at, he put together a spreadsheet that we would do like a $200,000 CD, and it would be, and they would last a year. And then like I think it was like every 3 or 4 months, we'd have another CD that would, but he put them out always as a year. So then, come in January, we get all the, bless you. We get all the tax money in, and so it doesn't quite work out, so we have to do some tweaking. So right now, though, so I looked at it, and I put together a brief spreadsheet that really addresses what we're doing today. And if you'll see, here's the Flagstar regular CDs, and then there's one that's a CDARS, and those are their brokered CDs. And those CDs are less flexible. The CDRs are less flexible for Flagstar as their regular CDs. We actually had a meeting today, the authorized signers on the checking account, and with April and our representative from Chase, and they gave us their rates as well. And really, their rates and the time frame for their CDs, they really follow the same thing as Flagstar does. So if you look, they do, they'll do like 120 to 149 days is Flagstar. They do, what do they do with it? I don't remember. Anyway, they're very similar. We can do a CD, at a specific date. So they have like a CD that's, then it was 30 to 179 days. So instead of 6 months, it's 1 day short of 6 months. And then they do and then they do 180 to like 269, so anyway, so if we want it, so I'm gonna make some recommendations on a specific month, and we'll be able to do that with Chase. So we have, and what I'd like to do today is to look at this spreadsheet that I put together for a maturity schedule. And we did talk with finance committee about this, and we all agreed that, this would be a good fit going forward. And we have CDs that are coming due in June and in July. And so I'd like to make some decisions on both during this meeting, in case we have a situation where we don't have quorum and in June. Sometimes we don't have quorum all the time in the summer, and I'd like to not get into a situation where we have to have an emergency finance meeting to make a decision. So the first one is we have this large Flagstar one, and if you see, it's highlighted in light green, and that comes due on June 3rd. Okay. And my recommendation is that we take that and we open that 500,000, and we open 2 brokered CDs through Flagstar for $200,000 each for 6 months. And then we take that $100,000 that's remaining and the interest and move that into our checking account for use. Okay. So, so as you can see, at the bottom of this, where we have the projected inflows from revenues, April, I did put in for 531, that includes the taxes. Okay, and that $1,000 is actually this is the interest that we made off of the last CD. Okay, so so if you look at the line 531, we'd have this, it's really 6.3. We'd have this $500,000 that's coming in. $101,000 would go to the checking account. 400,000 would end up being two CDs. Then if you look at the next one that's in yellow, that we had a 3-month CD on, it's coming due at the end of June. And it's for $228,362. And I'm recommending that we actually do a Flagstar CD for $200,000, because we only have about $16,000 in our savings account. Okay. And so we're gonna be we're gonna be under that with the other Flagstar coming due, we're gonna be under that limit of $250,000, okay? On our savings account. So one of the things about being listed as a government entity with the banks that we're dealing with is government entities are allowed to have $250,000 FDIC insured in their checking account and $250,000 FDIC insured in their savings or CDs.
Okay.
Okay, and it's unlike a small business and or unlike, you know, a personal entity. So that is one of the reasons why we looked at banks that recognize us as a government entity. Most banks won't because we're under $5 million. So we shopped around and we found 2 banks that will work with us, and that actually really helps us out. So so the $500,000 one from Flagstar, I'm recommending that we do 2 CDs at $200,000 for 6 months, the remaining into our checking. The Western Alliance, which is a brokered CD, which comes due at the end of June, I'm recommending that we open a $200,000 CD at Flagstar for 9 months, and that remaining balance and interest would go into our checking account.
Does the 100 and plus the interest go on the very first one, go to the Chase checking or Flagstar?
No, it's
checking?
all gonna go to Flagstar checking.
Okay,
I'm sorry, because we're not using the Chase checking today.
okay,
And I'll give a little update about that
okay.
too. No, this is, I need to be clear, it's all Flagstar checking. And then the one that's coming due, there's a Flagstar one that's coming due on 7/3. I'm also recommending that we move that into our Flagstar checking. And that will give us a, so it says this is our liquid cash. If you look at 7/31, it shows our liquid cash is 323. $100,000 of that is in Lakes Michigan Credit Union. So that is not our Flagstar cash balance. Okay, and then we have 16,000 sitting in a savings account at Flagstar, and we have a little bit of money also at Chase. So so this 4th CD that isn't highlighted, it's 100,741 at the top. That comes due 7/3. I recommend that goes into the checking account. And then this JP Morgan Chase one that comes due 7/12 for $225,000. I'm recommending that we renew that with Chase for 7 months, and the remainder goes, the interest goes into our Flagstar checking. So, any questions? I'm more than happy to answer. I've been messing with this and trying to figure out the best way to do this. Because I would like to get us to a point after we get some of these larger CDs taken care of and we have things under $250,000 for CDs, I'd like to be able to roll them. They would renew only at a year. And so we're not sitting here every single month going through this.
So the liquid cash balance, does that take into account budgeted expense?
Yeah, yes, if you look at the projected outflows, so it goes month ended, projected inflows from revenues and projected outflows from operations. We're averaging $120,000 of outflow a month.
Okay.
If you notice, Joe did that across 7 years or 5 years, and I thought that's not reasonable. That's not realistic for us at this moment. So in January, when I used his spreadsheet as a guideline in January, I upped that to $150,000 a month, just so we made sure that we actually have enough cash, Rich. And so we have that $100,000 at Lakes Michigan. So if we did have an issue, we do have cash that we could also move over. And the other thing is that if the CDs that we're dealing with at Chase and at Flagstar that are not brokered, we would only lose the interest in those. If we had to close one, we only lose the interest going forward from that. We don't have a penalty.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. So if this makes sense to people, I'm gonna do a few motions. Because, and if everybody's okay with it, I'd like to take care of June and July's this month. Because we know they're coming up, and that we could actually not have this lengthy conversation, in June.
That'd be good though, too, because then it's not crunch time trying to
Yeah.
figure
Right.
that out. Did we, is our meeting the day before or the day after or
Right.
something?
Right,
Yeah,
Right.
being a
Especially-
months and a half.
Especially with the maturity being like day before July 4th.
Right.
And.
Right.
Next meeting is the 28th.
Right.
We didn't meet June.
Yeah.
yeah, and if we have the board minutes, then I can send them to the bank and then, and the bank, usually they reach out to us so we can advance.
Mhm.
But being that it's around the 4th, it's
Yeah.
gonna be tight.
Exactly.
And I thought, boy, if we can make these decisions today.
Yeah,
we would
I
be
can-
better.
I-
All right, so, anyway, and then, like I said, we're gonna try to move these out so that they're, like $200,000 at a time, that, and we'll roll them, you know, yearly, so, okay, and
Okay.
like quarterly, that we'd get them back, but we're gonna have to figure out quite how we're gonna do that to, at the end of the year for our January taxes. Because that's when we have our biggest influx of money, that we need to make that decision, maybe in November. We should really look at how we want to do that for all the taxes going forward in January. So we're prepared. Okay,
Mhm.
any questions? Okay, all right, so do you want me to make the motions?
Yep.
And Jake, I'm gonna try to make these pretty similar to what it was last month, okay? And I have it pretty much written out, so I'm gonna make a motion to use the Flagstar $500,000 CD to open 2 Flagstar CDARs at $200,000 each for 6 months. With the remainder of that $100,000 and the interest into the Flagstar checking.
Second.
Sounds good.
Jen,
Oh,
you need to say.
we need to vote on, I thought we were gonna do them all and then vote. We're gonna vote on them individually.
Yeah, you'll want to do that so that you can
Okay.
give a motion to the,
Right, so I've
And-
made the motion.
And Kevin,
And
Eric,
Eric.
our new trustee, Kevin,
No.
and Eric has seconded it. So all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
All righty, ayes have it.
Okay.
No, I was just trying to concentrate on what you're saying.
Okay. The second motion I'm gonna make is for the Western Alliance Bank CD of 228. 362.22. Do you see that number, Jake? That comes, that is maturing 6/29. That we use that to open 1 CD of $200,000 at Flagstar for 9 months. With the balance and the interest into checking, into the Flagstar checking.
So that's the motion.
Seconded.
Okay, Eric's got the seconding position. And all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. The third motion is the Flagstar $100,741 CD that's maturing on 7/3. That we move the total, including the interest, into the Flagstar checking
upon maturity.
upon maturity.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, and the second?
I go 3 for 3, second.
Good. Yes, keep it going.
And
All right.
the final CD.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
And I'm bugging you.
I'm not one to stand on formality, but I will do what I'm supposed to do eventually, so. We need a vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it, and the final,
And the final is the JP Morgan Chase for $225,000. I make a motion to renew the Chase CD for 7 months with the interest moved into the Flagstar checking account.
I'll second was Eric,
Second.
okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, so I probably should have said this. I'm gonna make just a brief statement about what we talked with Chase. And I probably should have brought it up in the treasurer's report. So they have some different options for us, and we're gonna investigate those, but one of the things we wanted to make sure that happened. And I apologize that I thought that we had to sign something today. And we don't, we can do it all online. We don't have wire transfer today with Chase. And so, April and I are meeting with our representative next Tuesday. And we are going to set up that wire transfer capability, and it's gonna be dual authorization. So one of us will request the wire transfer like we do at Flagstar, and then another person has to approve it and use a secure ID code to actually generate the wire transfer. The other two things that we're going to do with three things we're gonna do with Chase. We're gonna order checks. Just so that we have them if we ever have a problem at Flagstar for any reason, we'd be able to, get up and rolling, and we've already have that approved, is to order those checks. So we're gonna make that happen next week, and we're also going to generate what they call ACH debit block. So we, because we have like $4,100 at Chase today, and by having that debit block, it will be empty, but it won't allow anybody to remove any money from that Chase account with it via ACH. Because we won't have anybody in there that's approved. And then finally, we're gonna do a positive pay, we're gonna set up positive pay again. Because we won't have a file that's uploaded. There will be anything, if somebody decided to fraudulently write a check in our name, and I understand from our auditor, it's happening quite often now with libraries, that it will be rejected. So because we don't have a positive pay file up on online, so those things will all help with fraud. So
Okay,
that's it. Thank you very much.
sounds good.
I wanted to add just one thing to that, is that, and when touched upon it, is we received our last tax payment, so everything is finalized with that. It was around 51,000 and some change. So yeah,
Which payment?
the last final tax payment.
Oh, okay.
All right. So April, are you gonna report for the strategic planning?
I can, and feel free to jump in. For strategic planning. Again, I think I talked about it with how much the survey is going out. Interestingly enough, I received a phone call from a patron just talking about some different things, and he mentioned that food trucks, again, talk about the food trucks in the neighborhoods, and invited the library to come over. He's off of Expo, just past the school. And so I've been out that way before. I mean, because I stopped by to see their meat box one time, and they have a food truck every Thursday for dinner.
Done there.
So
Lobster.
I think.
Okay, back up.
Cousin's lobster.
And where's it at?
Yeah, Foxing Sub.
Ah,
Yeah, there's a park that's there with like a swing set and some stuff there. They pull up food truck. They get there and they don't stay the whole time. It says like 5 to 7. You gotta get there like 6:30. But it's they do lobster rolls. They're not cheap.
Is
No,
it the
lobster
same
rolls aren't
company?
cheap.
I mean, the same truck every time?
No, it's
Okay,
different
so-
truck every time. So the Cousin's lobster is like every maybe 2 months,
Mhm.
something like that. And they're a chain that's nationwide. They've got food trucks all over the country, but they do a cold or a warm lobster roll. It's like $25. So it's not cheap. They're fantastic.
I tried to get them over here.
They are
they weren't
Probably
interested.
busy.
they are really good.
They're
I'm not saying
probably
that
booked
any
out.
official.
Twin Lake Sub does it Fridays from 4:30 to 6:30 at their little park. So when you go to the entrance and just take a right, and it meanders right around the corner.
Been to that
And they have a couple of them.
I don't miss many food trucks.
So when we talk about food trucks, how long are they gonna be here?
A few hours. Yeah, very excited about that. But anyways, long story short, that's tomorrow night, so I'm gonna head on my way. Well, actually, it used to be on my way home, but I'm gonna go over
Can't get there.
and try to hand out some of these. So, but I suggest that if you're going around to different neighborhoods, please go to that. So again, getting that out there, and we just make sure, We have added to our one-on-one invites, so these are one-on-one interviews that Library Strategies is calling and talking to specific people that were identified. Those are going well, and we're hearing some very good things out of that, getting some good feedback. Focus group invites have been sent out so far out of, I think, about 50 something invites. We've gotten about 18 that have committed so far. And that's just with one email invite. So this will be sent out again as soon as Library Strategy says to go out and send that again. I've received a couple of people that have said, yeah, I'm gonna do it, thank you, but you should also invite X. And so we were able to add to the list in that way, so that's a great thing. And survey responses so far, again, this is where I want to get it up, we're at 118 survey responses so far. So we definitely want to get going and bump that up. It's not terrible, but we definitely have a lot. I also provided flyers to our own staff that are work here, that are live in White Lake, asking them to do the same thing, asking you to get that sent out, sent it to them electronically. By the way, I can send this to you electronically.
Oh, please, yes, thank you.
Send it.
Because I can put it up on our neighborhood Facebook page.
Oh,
Same here.
That would be fabulous. That'll be much easier.
Yeah, you know, get out and actually see people, you know.
Well, when we see most people, it's either walking the dog or on the lake,
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna carry flyers on the boat.
in your pocket.
You just need one and you say, get your phone out quick.
But our neighborhood Facebook page is very active, and that's where we do most of our communication, and this is a perfect kind of announcement for it.
Yeah, and I think this is how we truly get people that are not coming here, and it could be for, not any particular negative. reason.
Did we put it out on White Lake Happenings? Did somebody link it there?
no,
I can link it there. I don't mind.
yeah, there's a lot of
Yes,
non,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, anti-library sentiment on that site, but
And
Can we
also,
put
there's
something
also a
out there
lot of
without
non-White Lake.
yeah, there's a fair amount of trolls from. other-
Yes,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah,
maybe it's not worth it then, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I think it might be, I think
Yeah.
there's enough of them there. And you can edit it to disallow comments,
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
so,
Oh, yeah.
Will you do that
yeah,
then?
be happy
Okay.
to. Just send me the electronic version.
Okay, and otherwise than that, did we have anything else to add?
No, we're kind of in limbo until we
Yeah.
have data to work with.
Yeah.
I would like to see more people to pull from for the focus groups, because we were looking for some very specific groups. Do we need to follow up with people directly?
I think we need to follow up with the steering committee.
Okay.
Because I don't see a lot of names from members of that group
Yeah, okay.
putting in. Continuing to put in, realizing that, there's still a little bit of time. So,
Yeah, for sure. I know that people that, Rich, you reached out to some business people in the community, and, they had actually said something to me, and they're very excited about participating, so hopefully they do.
And I think that might be on their library strategies agenda to do that, but I'm gonna kind of reach out to them. Again. But that's about it. I should to planning.
Okay.
so the library strategy will be here for the focus groups on June
Is it-
14th.
14th and 15th
yeah,
is the
like-
2 days they're coming in.
Yeah,
I've got 16th and 17th written.
She's coming in the Wednesday and it's and then it's through Saturday.
Thursday.
yeah, Thursday, Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there will be an opportunity to have them here for a tour and, maybe get them out to dinner or maybe breakfast so that you can meet them also the whole board.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
So
Okay.
it's going on.
All right.
That's good. Yeah, it is.
All right. And then policy committee,
Policy, I can speak to policy, so staff portion of the policy committee met on 4/19. We reviewed 2.2 to 2.393, which is the employee classifications. And so I will be bringing that plus, and no, just that, I will be bringing just that to, the board policy committee, which I did send out a calendar invite.
So
If that works, and I'd like to know also if that works as a general rule at that same time of the month. So
I have to look.
check.
So, I think so.
we can talk about that, okay, but, and then the day after that is when the staff will be meeting once again,
Okay,
and we'll be continuing.
Okay, sounds good. I've got no new business. Is that correct still? Nothing's
Yeah.
changed, okay?
No,
And old business. I guess on the bathroom tiling, if you haven't noticed, all the tilings up in the men's room and in the family room. All the fixtures are pretty much put back up where they need to go. The last time I looked, there was no grouting, but I think today I saw grouting. Has he got them grouted now?
he's working on grouting.
Okay.
He's now working in the women's bathroom right now.
I was gonna say, that's mostly done. He just had kind of a wall and a half to do still in there,
Yeah,
so
and
that's where he
he's
is.
got the wood cut and I think stained, and he's still gonna, he's got some to finish some staining on that, and that will go up.
The wood is like finishing all the way around the top.
Yeah.
Cause you know, as you bring them together, there's a little bit difference.
yeah.
All that. It's gonna be stained to match the wood that's in there. So, and that's it, right? Yeah, it's coming along.
Small little delay, in family issue he had to work on, so.
But I think it looks great. If you guys,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it looks very nice, thank you.
yeah.
Drive-through window update, so in my greedy little hands here is the permit.
Yay!
And I am meeting with our inspector tomorrow.
Okay,
Oh,
So
great.
to nail down the date.
Indeed. Awesome. All right,
Before the snow falls.
I think so.
I hope so.
Yeah,
At
Really,
least, yeah.
For July,
yeah.
I really am.
hopefully he's got the room in his schedule.
Yeah, so he seems okay. We just gotta make sure the mason is available.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're right, Rich, before the snow flies. we
Yeah.
should do this.
yeah, I just. It's so.
Does it take any more, did we have to put in more, this is just, I'm just curious, did we have to put in more hours? For people to work to staff that, or is it just like you press a button, somebody comes?
It's
and-
gonna be a doorbell.
Okay,
So
so.
rather than them calling, like, okay, so first we had the portable phone,
Mhm,
then we switched that over to just, they just call the regular number.
mhm.
And then now it'll just be a doorbell, so it's like,
So someone presses the doorbell that alerts whoever's filling orders to go do it.
right.
Okay, so we didn't add more staff.
Do we have a
And-
camera there?
Oh, I had to check on that,
Okay.
Yeah.
but we're gonna be looking into more cameras.
What's the doorbell one that has the camera on it?
Ring.
We tried to do that at the back door, and
Well,
for some reason it didn't. It's
didn't
not
work.
supported. We couldn't do it with the Ring doorbell at the
Okay.
back door. And I don't know why.
But I'm just thinking. Should we have a camera there? Do we have cameras in other parts of the building?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, especially if, because, you know, people can ring the doorbell, but you can also see, right? If you're not standing right there. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we don't want people running over there all the time if somebody's riding through in a bike and. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to ride through here on a bike considering the speed on the street and
Okay,
stuff,
but-
and
Yeah.
no way to
Yes,
ride
it will
there.
change,
Yeah.
right? So I'm just thinking that it would be nice to be able, from other places in the building, be able to see who, there's actually truly somebody there ringing the bell. And looking for service. It's just a thought.
Of course, that could be done later if it turns out
Yeah, it
that they're
doesn't have to
walking
be done. Right,
in,
it doesn't
you
have
know,
to be done.
walking up there and there's nobody there as opposed to.
But, you know, it's something that maybe we would look at for next year. But-
I do wanna make sure that we, you know, have some way of not just, I mean, we're gonna physically count, we'll add that to our stats. You know, there's an option to put in a count that can count the cars that come by, which would allow you to count how many, you know, are dropping off, not just using the drive-up window, but are dropping off
Mhm.
material.
Mhm.
More waiting staffs.
Or using it as a way out of the parking.
Yeah.
I think from a security
Yeah.
perspective, though. I think cameras.
I think it's important.
Yeah, well, it's why I've been asking for one at the back door too, but
Right,
And we
yeah,
could
I want people to be
separate,
safe.
Absolutely.
We could separate and not have it attached to the doorbell. We could just add a camera when we add additional cameras to the building.
Yeah, I think we should. And I didn't realize there wasn't one at the back door.
There is one at the back door looking out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Okay,
It's
like
like
you-
a little complicated as to
all right.
log in, you can log in to see it.
The person answering the door can see the person if they're standing,
At a
where they
certain
can
spot.
see it. So, but you know, if there was someone back there who had ill intent, I'd like to see them before they see me.
For sure, absolutely. We want the staff safe.
Yeah,
the cameras now have recording capability.
Okay, great.
all right. Do any of the existing cameras catch the drop off area? Do you know?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Huh? They're caught in there and at the back door, Yeah.
Okay, good.
for sure. All righty. Well, that brings us to the end of the agenda.
I'd
So-
sure like to make a motion.
I was gonna say,
During
let's
this meeting.
look for a motion. So adjourning the meeting at what, like 49,
I've got 7.
40, 52?
Yeah.
Okay, so 7:52. Yeah, that Jake?
Do we have to vote on it?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we had the
Yep.
time right. Okay, so all in favor?
Uh,
All right, me too, if I could vote.
Yeah.
So that's it. Good night, everybody.